Hello and welcome back to London Cycle Routes. Today I'll be showing you how to cycle from Notting Hill in West London to Chelsea. This ride takes just 15 minutes and you can do the whole thing on quiet streets and protected cycle lanes. By public transport, the same journey takes roughly 20 minutes, so cycling is a competitive way to make this trip. If you find this video useful or you just enjoy watching it, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as I try to post new videos just like it every week. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to everybody who supports the channel on Patreon, including those of you who just recently joined. Thank you so much, I really appreciate it. If anyone else would like to contribute, you can find a link in the description below the video. Alright, let's get going. So we're starting on Notting Hill Gate and we're going to turn around and we're going to head into Kensington Palace Gardens through this rather ornate set of gates. While there is a pretty scary looking security presence here and a bar gate blocking the road, believe it or not, you're actually allowed to cycle through here. I don't think you're allowed to drive through, but bikes are allowed and all you need to do is ride at it and they'll wave you through. Kensington Palace Gardens is a mix of embassies and ambassadors' residences. You might see a lot of flags that you recognise on poles hanging from these buildings, and also just very, very expensive houses for basically billionaires. As such, it has gained the nickname Billionaires Row in the British press. If you're ever bored in Notting Hill or Kensington, I definitely recommend a walk up and down this street, if only for the novelty factor. There's also a lot of history here. For example, the Norwegian ambassador's residence here was used by the Norwegian government in exile during the Second World War, when meetings of the Norwegian Council of State were held in the dining room. It's also home to the most expensive house in London, which was formerly the Soviet embassy, but is now owned by a Russian oligarch. We're going to turn left here to go through the park. Strangely, the Crown Estate has posted a 24/7 guard here to tell people to dismount while going through this gate. Seems like a bit of a waste of money when they could just open the much larger gate next to it, which is suitable for cycling through, but for some reason they keep locked. You are allowed to cycle either side of that gate. It's literally just the little gate that they want you to dismount for. You may also choose to voluntarily dismount at this gate here if it's busy, as there's a kind of weird railing in front of it which creates a pinch point. Remember that this path in the park is shared with pedestrians, and also remember that you're cycling past Kensington Palace on the left there, the official residence of the Prince of Wales. As such, there are quite a few tourists around clustered in front of it, and they may be oblivious to what's going on around them, so do take care, cycle slowly and give everyone plenty of space. Whenever I cycle down this path, I always complain about the stupid cobble strips on the path that the royal parks have put in. These cause people to cycle on the grass to avoid the pain of riding over them. But I won't dwell on that this time. Instead, I'm going to talk about why the path's official name is Mount Walk. It's because there actually used to be an artificial mount around here, an artificial hill with a classical summer house on top of it called the Tower of Winds. This was constructed for Queen Caroline in 1730 or thereabouts, and it was built out of the spoil excavated from digging up the Serpentine Lake, which is on the left. It was around here somewhere, but it only lasted around 100 years until 1840 when it was removed. But Mount Gate and Mount Walk still bear its name. I can't find any definitive explanation as to why the mount was removed, although one source says that the growing trees ended up blocking the view and made it not particularly fun to go up. Amusingly, during my search, Google's AI also butted into my search results and confused it with the Marble Arch Mound, which was built in 2021 by Westminster Council, and the AI told me that it was taken down because people started calling it the Teletubby Hill. I suspect that that is not right. As we leave the park, just a reminder that that section behind the fences is closed at night, So if you need to come this way after dark, then you'll need to go down Kensington Road, which runs parallel to it. We're now on a dedicated cycleway, but do just be careful at this crossing here and also the next one here, as people do have a tendency to appear from behind hedges and run/walk across the cycle path there, so make sure you take it slow as you go through that section. You've got a lovely protected two-way cycleway running along the south carriage drive here, and you can see just how popular it is. Plenty of people out on this lovely summer's day when this was recorded, just riding without any fear of traffic, although I should add that the south carriage drive is now also generally closed to traffic, or to through traffic anyway, so if you want to cycle on the main carriageway, then you should be able to do that comfortably as well. The cycleway was built before it was closed to through traffic, which is why it's there. On the right, you've also got Hyde Park Barracks, which was designed by architect Sir Basil Spence, who also did Sussex University and Coventry Cathedral. Two pretty cool buildings, I think. To the left of those trees, you've got a dusty, sandy path, which is actually a horse ride. That's there because the guards who are based at the barracks ride horses, and there's also a horse riding school in the park as well, which I think makes use of the facilities. Legally, that's actually a bridleway, so you are actually allowed to cycle on that if you want, like if you have a mountain bike or something, but it's probably not going to be very fun. I would probably just stick to the cycleway here. We're going to turn off it now, so go right here into Albert Gate, where you've got the embassies of France and Kuwait, and then you can use this pretty decent cycle crossing to get across Knightsbridge. Weirdly, the lights there are wrong and say you can only turn left, but that isn't true. You can go straight ahead onto William Street, and William Street's actually completely traffic free, so it's a pleasant ride and will drop you right onto Lowndes Square. The square is one way all around it, so if you're doing this route in the opposite direction, you'll have to loop around the other side of it. Westminster Council, which controls this side, should really make it two-way for cycling, as it is reasonably quiet and makes a good link to the protected cycleway in Hyde Park and places beyond that. On Lowndes Street, you're going to want to turn right here into Cadogan Place. From here on, there's a little bit more traffic on the route. It's amazing how you can immediately tell when you've crossed the borough boundary into Kensington and Chelsea just by the number of cars that are going past. It's not exactly a traffic-free route here, but by the standards of this part of town, it's basically okay and certainly the best way to make progress in the direction we want to go. Crossing that street there is probably the hardest part of it. It's pretty wide and there's no signals or safe way to get across, so you basically just have to wait for a gap in the traffic and then go over to the other side of Cadogan Place, which is where we are now. If you think you might get lost in these squares, then just check the description below the video and I've linked to a free map of the route, which is in a GPX file and should work on whatever app or device you prefer. It's a standard format. Now we're going to turn left into Pavilion Road here, and you can see that there are these temporary no entry signs. That's actually accept cycles. You can see the accept cycles sign at this end, but I think because it's a temporary construction work sign, they didn't have one there at the time when I came through, but you are allowed to cycle that way. Pavilion Road, despite what I was saying about Kensington and Chelsea before, is actually lovely. You are technically allowed to cycle down here. It's no motor vehicles, you can see on the sign there, but when it gets this busy, you're probably going to want to dismount for your own comfort as much as everybody else's. At the end of Pavilion Road, you'll find yourself on Sloane Square, which is it's quite a peripheral part of Chelsea, but it is Chelsea nonetheless. So here we go. We've made it all the way from Notting Hill up to Chelsea. Thanks very much for watching. Do let me know in the comments what you think of all that. I'm particularly interested to hear if anyone's been down to Pavilion Road at the end of the video actually. Is it as nice as it looks? I suspect it might be a little bit pricey, but it seems pleasant nonetheless. Also, hello to all the channel's new subscribers, and thanks to everyone who watched the 2025 preview video, which was by far the most watched video I've ever done on this channel. I'm definitely thinking about how I can do more magazine style videos like that, but without taking my foot off the pedal on the core mission of this channel, which is to do these route videos to help people ride around London without traffic. If you like the work I'm doing here and you want to support it, then there's a link to the Patreon below where you can throw money at me. Thanks again to everyone who does that already. And make sure you check out the map of all the different London cycle routes videos as well, which I link down there too. Thanks very much for watching, all the best, and I'll see you all again next time. Goodbye.